This machine is the most powerful creation of the Hurricane. Using electricity, fuel and its power, discharges it in a large explosion. This is Volt.
How did you do that? How did you do that?
Broadcast as radio impulses into space. And all messages are being heard on every radio telescope on the entire
Did you think it was?
Hey everyone, it's me again. Today I got you the ultimate Volt guide. Volt, the most versatile warframe in the entire game, and one of my favorites. So I brought you 7 builds for this warframe, including Eidolon's, Profit Taker, and Steel Path level cap. So without further ado, let's head to his abilities. Starting with the passive that gives your next shot an electric damage bonus and electric status effect. This passive has a cap of 1000 and the status effect is related to your weapon's status chance. You can build it by moving around. Not interesting, but useful. His first ability, Shock, that deals mediocre damage, but it's not used for its damage, but for its utility. Remember my Embers video? I used Fireball Frenzy to get heat damage. In our case here, Volt has Shock Trooper that gives you electric damage bonus multiplier to your weapons. Pretty much like adding electric mod to your weapon. This is very useful in a lot of modding, especially for Eidolon hunts. Second ability, Speed, that gives you speed multiplier that scales multiplicatively with movement speed multipliers like mods and some weapon perks. His third ability is Shields, that multiplies your total critical damage by 200%, meaning when you fire through his shield, your shots will get 200% critical damage multiplier. This is applied after the modding. This means it scales multiplicatively with your mods. It's pretty much like Eclipse, but for critical damage. Also, it gives you electric damage bonus that does not combine with your elemental mods on your weapons, unlike what the tips said. DE did a horrible job describing this ability. He didn't even mention how much critical damage you get. This ability has an augment called Transistor Shields that allows you to get your passive when your shields take the damage. It doesn't matter which shields or how much damage, it just needs to take the damage. And this will be used in a build. And also allowing your allies to hold your shields. The last ability, Discharge. Volt explodes, dealing massive amounts of electric damage. This ability is a bit weak since you still have to face the armor of the enemies, but it has its use in Sanctuary Onslaught, and you can buff it with armor stripping abilities like Pillage and also Nourish, and Roar also do so. This ability has an augment called Capacitance that allows you to regenerate your shields and give yourself over shields. Also, it helps your teammates regen their shields too. For the bird requirements, you need only 1 red shard for a red strength, on 1 Volt, and 1 Umbra Forma, and 1 Aura Forma, and 3 normal Formas, so you can fit all of these builds in 1 Volt. Unfortunately, the Eidolon and the Profit Taker builds will have to be on another Volt, but you can get away with one of these, the same Volts. Also, you're gonna have to use this Panzervogelpfeiler and the Panzervogel Schools for protective sling for most of the builds. If anything changes, I'll tell you about it. The first build is made for speed missions, exterminate, rescue, capture, whatever. Utilizing the first ability, utilizing Volt's second ability for movement speed and infested mobility. This is ability from the helmet system itself that multiplies your movement speed. This also will require the Curious Prime since it enhances all of your movement speed by 10%, or using the Praetus with this perk that enhances the particle velocity and movement speed. And the build is as shown in the aura, Sprint Boost to enhance my movement speed even more, Prime Flow for the large energy pool, Narrow-Minded, Ogre Message, and Prime Continuity for more duration of my speed ability, Blind Rate, Transit Fortitude, and Umbral Intensify, and Ogre Secrets for ability strength since your second ability, and Infested Mobility scales with ability strength, Prime Sure-Footed, come on, you know by now. For the less time on your butt, Arcane Energize for the large energy replenishment when you pick up an energy orb, and the last arcane slot is up to you. You can pick whatever arcane to enhance your weapons. My recommendations is explosive weapons. Just go with whatever you like. For the second loadout, it's made for camping and chilling by putting your shields in a strategic way so enemies can't shoot the shields and you get the passive each time, utilizing the augment transistor shields. In this loadout, I'm using the Kuva Chakur modded for high crits, viral damage, and internal bleeding mod since it force proc mass impact. This Kuva Chakur is Toxin Progenitor, so any other progenitor will not work with this build. And this is the Bolt's build. In the aura, I got Brief Respite for energy to shield conversion for easier shield gated, Prime Sure-Footed as usual, Prime Flow for the large energy pool, Growing Guard for the 3 seconds of invulnerability and status cleanse, Natural Talent, Forecasting Speed, Umbral Intensify, Blind Rage, and Narrow-Minded for ability strength to increase the reloading speed on my second ability, Prime Continuity for some duration, Arcane Energize for the energy replenishment, and Arcane Acceleration to increase my fire rate on my Chakur. This build is utilizing 2CC mechanics by using Silence to stun enemies if they get within the vicinity for 2 seconds, and using your first ability on your shields to give the enemies stun when they try to go through your shields. Also, make sure to get yourself a Veslock or a Sarpa with the Shattering Impact mode and a bunch of attack speed mods to strip the Acolyte's armor and one-tap him with your Chakur. The third build is made for ESO when you want to help your friend level up his gears. In the aura, Growing Power for 25%, Ability Strength when you proc a status effect, Prime Flow again for the large energy pool, Arcane Energize for energy replenishment, Prime Sure-Footed, okay you know by now. Overextended, Arcane Reach, Ogre Reach for ability range, and also Arcane Reach for energy region when you deal electric damage with your abilities, since I'm going to be utilizing my fourth ability damage, which is electric, Blind Rage and energy conversion, and Ogre Secrets and Umbral Intensify for ability strength, and Multi Augmented for 60% ability strength. This will also be paired with Nourish to give me energy multiplier and viral damage, and viral retaliation when you get hit. This will enhance my fourth ability's damage and solve this build's problem with efficiency, since you're gonna have full energy all the time, and also you're gonna even buff your teammates and help them regen their energy. Also, make sure to use the Madurai Focus School for sling strength and power transfer for casting speed and ability strength. And the weapons of choice, pick whatever you like, but my recommendations are the explosive weapons again. Now, with one of the 2 level cap setups. In this build, I'm using Zada's Whisper to create a bubble that works as a bullet attractor with the Latron Prime Incarnate, of course. With this build, utilizing the Augment Double Tap, the rest of the mods is as usual critical chance, critical damage, multi-shot, and gun CO. And I'm using the last evolution that makes me armor strip the enemies when I proc Puncture, utilizing the non-incarnate form. And I'm using here the Dexterity Arcane Soul since I was building my stacks with my melee, but you can absolutely go with Deadhead Arcane and deal more damage. And now with the Bull's build, I'm using the Capacitance Augment to regenerate my shields whenever I use my fourth ability. Again with Prime Flow, Arcane Energize. Now I have Equilibrium because this build needs a lot of energy. Transient Fortitude, Umbral Intensify for ability strength to buff my Zada's Whisper. Pulsar Amp for more base damage to my primary. Prime Continuity to counteract the negative duration in Transient Fortitude. And I'm Prime Sure-Footed as usual. In this loadout, you will need a single target primary so you can proc Zada's Whisper on top of enemies' heads. So I'm using the Hystrix Prime, modded with Viral and Heat with the cold quills to slow down enemies. And this is the build. And for the melee, use whatever melee you want to use. Doesn't really matter. My recommendations is the Glaive Prime, since it's AoE. For my second Steel Path build, I'm utilizing Volt's Shock Trooper and Theros Strike to deal the maximum amount of electric damage and status effect to enemies, and Theros Strike to armor strip the enemies since electric damage and status effects are weak against armor. So the build will be as shown: Brief Respite in the Aura for energy shield conversion, Ogre Secret, Transient Fortitude, Humble Intensify for ability strength, Prime Continuity to counteract the negative duration in Transient Fortitude, Prime Flow, Arcane Energize for energy sustainment, Arcane Acceleration to buff my weapon, which is the Quanta Vandal, and the Augment Shock Trooper, Wooden Guard for the 3 seconds of invulnerability, and Status Cleanse, Prime Sure-Footed for the less time on your butt. My main DPS weapon will be the Quanta Vandal, modded for high crits and status chance and electric damage, and I'm using Arcane Deadhead since electric damage and status effects are instantaneous, so it does proc it, and my primer will be the same Hystrix Prime from the last build. Now, with the Eidolon's build, I went with Eclipse to multiply my final damage on my sniper. And why not War? War works like a faction damage multiplier. When Eclipse multiplies your final damage from your weapons. So in this specific build, I'm using Arcane Nullify to resist the magnetic status effects from the magnetic waves that Eidolon generates every time you hit a limb, and Arcane Acceleration to buff my sniper's fire rate. In the Aura, I got Pulsar Amp for more base damage on my sniper when I swap between it and any other weapon in my loadout. Shock Trooper to get the electric damage bonus on my sniper, so I don't have to add electric to it to form radiation. I only need to mod for heat. Umbrel Vitality, an Umbral Fiber for health and armor, Umbral Intensify for ability strength, paired with the Umbral set to get more strength, Blind Rage for more ability strength, Narrow-Minded for duration, Adaptation for more damage reduction, and Prime Flow for the large energy pool. You're gonna have to use energy pads to sustain your energy during the fight, since you're gonna use a lot of it. And since Eidolons are gear check fights, I'm going to upload a new video talking about it specifically, so stay tuned. And for Prophet Seeker, just swap Shock Trooper with Ogre Secrets, and I made a dedicated guide explaining everything you need to know about Prophet Seeker fights and gave you builds for Chroma and Volt. Do go check it out. This Volt requires 2 Umbral Formas to fit everything in it, and 2 yellow shards for casting speed to replace natural talent. That's it for me. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something new. Please consider subscribing, it's free, you can always change your mind. Also drop a like, it's very appreciated. See you all next time.
I can hear the sound.